Hello everyone, I hope you're having a good day. I'm Falguni Srivastav and I have Dr. Sukant Khurana with me today. Dr. Sukant is an entrepreneur, mentor, public speaker, and a well renowned scientist. Welcome, sir.
Thank you, Falguni.
So, sir, my question to you is what are the different types of compositions in English that one should be aware of?
Excellent question. So, other than the standard formats, which are obviously common to office, which are common to research sector, if one really wants to take a broader look in general at writing and what kind of compositions are there. See, the composition in Latin is to put together. You can put together a thing in various ways. And often, rich writing is a combination of putting together something in various ways. So, a composition is there to express a point of view. It can be even a cool logic, right? It can be impassioned anger. Um, it can be your quest to make someone understand things. And in fact, sometimes it could be an active effort to obfuscate, which often politicians and bureaucrats do. And it's not limited to them. I mean, uh, more often than not, you'll see scientists hiding behind verbiage too. So composition always serves a purpose. Don't be slave to your poor composition. Make the composition work for you what you want to do. Whether you want to obfuscate, whether you want to be clear, whether you want to convey a point of view, making somebody understand your emotions, whether you want to convey somebody understand the logic, whether you want somebody to really walk through the moments as if it's really grippingly happening in front of you. Sometimes good writing is like you read a novel and you forget that it's a novel. It's almost a movie is running in front of your eyes. So composition can vary in different styles. Um, so one style is often called description, right? Description or descriptive writing um, is an account that describes something or someone, right? You list characteristic features, you list significant details, and you render the portrayal in words. Descriptions are set in concrete reality, and more often than not, in office work, you're expected to describe, right? So this is the kind of composition you will um, encounter more often than not in your professional setting. Um, but the better you can describe, the better it is, right? The second is narration. Now you may say, how is narration different than description? Because they're essentially telling the same thing, but narration is from your point of view. If I asked you, Falguni, that we sat in an interview, instead of telling me what everyone did, what's your take on it, right? The two are different things. When I'm asking you, what's your take on it, you may narrate, oh, I saw that guy was fidgeting, and I think this is happening, right? I think the person maybe had a stressful day. That's why she is responding or he is responding in a particular manner, right? So narration or narrative writing is a personal account, a story that writer tells his or her readers. In objective scientific writing, narration is no longer acceptable, but if you look at some amazing papers from 1920s, they can be highly narrative, right? You can even be dramatic in your narration. Chronology can be in strict order, but they can also be flashbacks, right? Uh, so this is often the case of narration is needed for creative writing or emotional writing. Let's say we are running an epilepsy awareness campaign at Ioncure. It need not always have descriptive writing. It could be narrative writing of a parent with a kid suffering from epilepsy, what they felt. Not just XYZ happened and I took my kid to hospital. The poor kid had stopped breathing and we revived her doing XYZ, right? The narrative writing can have components of one's feeling. It could have various salient things. It could even miss things which are irrelevant from the writer's point of view. Then there is expository writing. That's is an act of expounding or explaining a place, a person, a thing, or an event, right? You are not just describing something, but you're trying to give an interpretation to the reality, right? Your ideas and what they mean. That's what you're trying to convey. In some respects, you're laying out a proposition to explain a general notion, right, or an abstract idea. So, expository writing is often a hallmark of good leaders. They're telling you why they're doing things a certain way. It's a hallmark of good mentors. Um, if somebody tells you simply do X, Y, Z versus tells you, I'm going to tell you how to do this because there is this underlying motive, because you will achieve this, you'll see this picture, right? If I coach you certain way, you'll understand X thing better. I'm then using a structure which is more expository, right? There's a logic. Then there is a writing which is argumentation or argumentative writing. Arguments can be both logical and emotional, but there is it's ideally best if there is even formal reasoning. The end result is formulate to persuade, right? Why thing A is better than thing B? Should I rent a house? Should I lease it? Should I buy it? Right? I can write an argumentative thing, and that argument doesn't necessarily mean I'm contesting something. Hypothetically, if I was living with somebody, let's say I moved to, let's say, X country and decided to marry somebody, and we're deciding to plan to buy a house. And if I'm communicating while traveling instead of just calling up, I'm writing arguments for and against a certain action, right? That if you move to X location, buying makes this much financial sense, renting makes this financial sense. If we invest here, maybe we don't intend to live here forever, we intend to live for 3 years only, but still buying makes sense because we will have X or Y result of the investment, right? So there's an argument being presented, and the response also, ideally, in obviously in an equal relation, would be an argument, right? And whether there is a consensus based on argument or there are differences based on argument, will be the net product of all of that, right? So argumentation is important, not just in a legal manner. In fact, a lot of scientific writing is not just expository, it is not narrative, it is descriptive, it has components of exposition, and it has composition of argument. So argument should not be only seen as a legal argument in court of law. So those who are able to absorb and understand how these four fundamental different types of composition matter in English language often do better than others. It's like you start playing football looking at others versus you know all the rules. Once you know the rules, you often even know how to play close to the fault line or mix them, right? So even once in a while to break rules, what especially in the world which I come from is not just science, right? I'm an artist also. Uh, Once in a while, the best thing comes by breaking rules, but to break rules, you must know them first. So understanding what is the structure of composition, right, which in Latin I would again remind means to build. You can compose music, you can compose a letter. You're building something. So what are the four basic structures? Must understand. Those four basic structures are description, cold, simple description, narration, which is your perspective, exposition, which underlies logic and your reasoning for certain things, and then there's argument. So these are four fundamental ways any kind of writing, be it a romantic letter, be it a case for buying a house, be it a condolence, be it an office report, be it a thing by a statesman, a piece by a statesman saying this is the direction we want to see the country or a league of nations or a community of businesses take, right, or a workers' union take. These fundamentally are the four things around which things revolve. So that's my overall take on different kinds of composition.
Well, that was very insightful. Thank you so much for sharing that knowledge with us, sir. For all
Thank
the
you, Falguni.
listeners, thank you. For all the listeners, anyone who's interested in applying at Ioncure for the free training can apply at volunteer@ioncurerx.com. Thank you.